Hey everybody, this is my project number 3 for Mark Rober's engineering course. So what you're looking at here is an alarm clock where you have to beat a Simon Says game in order to turn off the alarm. So I'll walk you through what we actually have here in front of me. So it is a white PVC box which holds all of the components. Right now it is plugged into my computer, but you could replace the plug with a DC outlet plug. On the right side is where we actually have the clock itself, so you can see it reads time, day of the week, date, and we also have temperature in the top right. You can change the contrast of the clock face with the potentiometer here, so if I could turn this, you can see I can change the contrast. These buttons here actually interact with the clock to change the time, so if I were to press the button here, it is now flashing on the first number here, which lets me know I can change it. So I could either move it up or down. I can hold these buttons too, so you can see it's going up, and I can change it back to go down. And so if I click this button again, it'll go to the next number, and then it will go down to the day, so I can change the day of the week, and then of course the date. And if you cycle all the way through, once you go through the last number, you'll see it says set date and set time finish. The button on the right, the black button here, if I do that, this leads me to the alarm menu. So I can turn the alarm off, so deactivate, or I can activate it, and then I can set the time for the alarm. And let's go ahead and set the alarm here. So when I do the same thing, go through all the way through, it says set alarm finish. So we have 2014, so we'll set the alarm to 2016. So the alarm is activated. So we'll go up here, 20, and then go over, and then we'll go down until we hit 16. And we will finish setting up the alarm. So it'll go off here in a minute. So the way this works is once the alarm starts going off, you'll see this white light start to flash. You'll also hear a buzz coming from inside. That is the alarm being activated, and so in order to turn the alarm off, you have to press the snooze button, which will be the white button corresponding to the white light. And once you press that, it's going to initiate the Simon Says game. So if you just press the snooze button and don't play the game, you refuse to press anything else, the alarm will start up after a few seconds, saying that you've failed. And if you press the button and play the game but don't do it in the right order, or you fail one of the levels, it'll also start the alarm over again. The only way to stop the alarm is to actually beat the game. So we'll do a few different iterations of that here. So you see the alarm is started at 2016. So we'll snooze the alarm by pressing the white button. And you'll see it says Simon Says wake up on the clock. It asked me to press a button, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to have snoozed it and not do anything. So the lights over here will flash, and the alarm will start going off again, saying that I have not completed the game. So we'll go ahead and try again. So this time we'll play, but we'll fail. So I beat level 1, beat level 2, now I'm going to fail on level 3, just on purpose. So say I did that, and I'm too sleepy, and I end up pressing the third button. Oh, the alarm goes off again. So in order to actually turn the alarm off, we have to beat the game. So let's go ahead and beat the game. So green, green, green. And this is random every time. So the way the programming works is that the light order will be random. And I have to beat, it's 4 or 5 levels for the alarm to completely stop. So it's green, green, red, blue. Green, green, red, blue. Green, green, red, blue, red. All the lights now will flash several times to let me know I've beat the game. The Simon Says wake up will go away, and the time will reappear, and the alarm has been deactivated. So this kind of forces you to actually pay attention and kind of solve a little game in order to get the alarm turned off. So there's no way you could just hit the snooze button and try to get away without actually completing the game. So what I'll do now is I will open this up so you can see what the inside looks like. It's kind of a mess, But I can show you the way it's hooked up and the different components that are involved in the making of this. So this is the inside, if we were to take it out of its little box here. So the front panel, which you've already seen. So if we flip the front panel around, you'll see kind of the wiring work here. So a lot of the buttons are actually taped up here. And I did that because the connections weren't super strong and I didn't want to solder it. So I just put some tape there to hold them in place a little bit better. They were staying most of the time, but they just kind of kept falling out sometimes. So this is the back of the clock face itself with all of the individual connections going to the Arduino. You can see the LEDs, which have all their hookups, and then the Simon Says buttons on the other side. And so all of these buttons and everything else are going to kind of two main sections. Well, they're all going to the Arduino, but most of it first goes through this mess here, which is a very small breadboard, which has a lot going on. And so most of the connections on here are actually for the individual buttons. And so you can see buttons which are giving power through this little breadboard and through the capacitors, or the resistors, excuse me. And the only other two things on here kind of interest are the clock module itself, which is the one on the end here. And then there's the little buzzer here with the sticker still on it, and that prevents it from being way too loud. And then everything is going to my Arduino board here. And so this is actually an Arduino Mega instead of just the Arduino Uno. I got this specifically so that I could make this clock. And the reason is because if you see over on that side where the analog inputs are, there are more analog inputs. And I needed that for all of the different buttons that I was going to put on here. The Uno just didn't have enough for me. And all of the digital outs, which go to the LEDs and the clock itself, and the two things over here on the very end are for the clock module that are plugged in to give it time and temperature. So that's kind of the inner workings of this clock module. Most of the time wasn't actually spent putting things together physically. You can see it is kind of it was a job. It was a kind of a tough job to get everything in there and wired together. But the toughest thing was actually getting all of the code done. And this is just because I'm not a big coder. And I had to work through some issues because, as you saw with the clock itself, there were kind of a lot of conditions that I had to work through, and then those conditions had to not mess with the actual function of the clock. And so in the code itself, I had to work through a lot of the normal functions and then the statements working with the Simon Says game to make sure that everything was completely random and wouldn't actually interfere with the function of the clock itself. So there's kind of the inner workings of my little machine, and I hope you found it interesting and maybe there's something here that could inspire you to do something on your own if you were doing something or thinking of something similar. So thanks for watching.